Hey guys, what's going on? Alright, so we are going to have some music playing in the background a little bit. If everybody in YouTube, if anybody in there can tell me if it's too loud, I can definitely adjust it. I just wanted some background music for tonight because it's just kind of a chill hangout and nothing too serious tonight.
Give me a second, Kenna. I'm gonna put YouTube in my headset. See if I can listen to it for a few minutes.
Alright, I think it's, yeah, because like Discord's coming through nice and loud and clear.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go, guys. Where are y'all at? Hey, Andrew. Hey, Fang. Sounds fine. Great, great, great. Alright. So yeah, tonight we're just kind of hosting a special podcast tonight, trying to get a little bit more of the BullHouse able to actually participate, because we're finding the 2:30 time frame is not very feasible for some of the team members. So we figured we'd do a special Friday night, 10 o'clock. Everyone's kind of chilled for the weekend. So yeah, we're kind of open for anyone to talk, really. So let's see. Oh, we have Dream Crusher. Oh, some. All right, I think Lady is taking care of the invites. So yeah, if you guys have anything you guys want to talk about tonight, we're all ears. We can rant, rave, whatever about. Just keep politics and religion out of it, please. So yeah. All right. Let's see. So we have two of our newest members. So Existent and Citadel have been promoted to our junior staff, which is absolutely phenomenal. I'm so excited. And we have Lady Marissa, however you know her, she's in here. BlackRock buying houses. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Is that something you want to talk about? I mean, we could probably spend the entire evening talking about that. Like, that is, I haven't seen anything new recently. I really have kind of stayed out of the news situation for the last couple days due to my appointments and whatnot. So if anybody has new information about that, I'm all ears. Rant. I don't know how many of you guys just saw my rant on Twitter, but that's gonna be a nice one for me. Is this whole shorting Robinhood IPO thing. Like, can we not? Can we just not do that, please? Because, like, one, like, I keep seeing people say, like, oh, it's a trap, and it very well could be, right? But at the same time, like, why are we talking about doing things that we've been bitching about for months, right? Like, we completely hate it. So I don't understand the fascination. So if someone can fill me in on that, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Kenna. I know, I'm not into the whole shorting thing. Sure, you can, make some money on the way down and things like that. But, really, to me, if you're not happy with the way Robinhood did some things in the past, move your business away. I can tell you that I moved a whole bunch of shares and options out of them and over to Webull and some other places. But talk with your money, move your shares, and get out of them if you don't like what they're doing.
That's exactly it. Like, I mean, that's what I even said in that. Like, hey, DH, what's going on? That's exactly what I said. I was like, just move your stuff. Don't do business with them. Leave them bad reviews. Report them. Like, whatever. Like, you don't have to become the thing that you hate the most right now, right? Like,
isn't that the worst possible thing you could do?
what, shorting them is the worst thing?
No, becoming the enemy that we're all fighting.
Yeah, exactly. That is. Any words about the big banks accused of credit default swaps, antitrust scheme, and market manipulation? Actually, I think some of the team was talking about that, weren't you guys? About the big banks being accused of credit fraud, defaulting. Sorry. Were you guys talking about that, or was it someone else that I saw? Oh wait, flashbacks. Yeah, right. That's what, and this is what we've been saying, guys. Like, this exact same thing with the banks doing the same shady BS that they were doing back in '08 is going on. Happened to see the article about BlackRock buying rental property. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. They started doing that last year. I mean, they've been doing that since '08. BlackRock, Blackstone, They actually bought up a lot of the foreclosures back in '08 when that all went down, and so the fact that we're seeing it again, them doing it en masse again, is just kind of big red flags to me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of a lot of the big guys are doing property purchasing. That's somewhere that even when it falls down, you still own a pretty significant asset and that you can sit on and wait for it to come back. So.
No, I agree, and there's been a lot of interesting. I'm not going to call it FUD because it's not really FUD, but definitely PR spin from the BlackRock folks that I've seen in recent articles spinning how it's much better to be a renter than a homeowner, and they're not pitching it just towards millennials. They're pitching it across all demographics, saying, "Why bother owning your own home? It's easier to rent."
Right? You will own nothing, and you will be happy about it, right?
Yeah, you'll have zero equity, but you know what? You'll be so much happier.
Why would you want that added expense, guys? Like, why do you want to take care of a house? Why do you want to build wealth? Like, gosh, how stupid can you be? I'm sorry. I just can't even say that with a straight face. Good grief.
So that's pretty much the exact same thing. I before I clicked off the article, I was like, this is insanity.
Well, because you saw that the 2030 prediction, right? Have you guys seen that video?
I have
not.
Oh my goodness. So I'm not gonna play it, but let me find this real quick. Actually, I think I put it in my DD. Actually, it's the one with Russell Brand it was just too good not to put into the DD. Let me find it real quick. But yeah, it basically talks about how like drones will deliver stuff and you will own nothing and all this. I mean, it's just craziness. It's talking about how like we just need to be happy about how life is going, period. I gotta find this.
While you're looking for that, I saw we had a question that said somebody threw in, so a house is getting more expensive in the next few years because they're trying to buy a house. My opinion, I think we'll probably continue to run up a little bit in housing with the way rates are right now. With mortgages as cheap as they are, you still to continue to have buying, and along with BlackRock and other major investors buying up properties. You're taking supply off the market, which is really impacting the demand.
All right, yeah.
I expect pricing will continue to come up a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I linked it in YouTube and Discord. The Russell Brand video, so you guys can watch that at your own leisure. But you guys will probably laugh about it. Like you're gonna go, "What the fuck?" Like, yeah, and the housing prices. Like, gosh, you talk about '08 flashbacks here. I mean, we have increasing house prices. Interest rates are starting to go back up. The demand and the supply is just astronomical. Like it's gonna flip. Like I'm waiting now for July 31st. Like I put my DD, like since they extended it, and when these people's mortgages come due, or the renters have to pay their rent and they end up getting evicted, or the foreclosures happen, you're gonna see houses just coming back on the market and it's gonna flood it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where everyone's located, but I'm in the Northeast, and I would argue, especially, with your DD, I mean, I think we're on the same page, but in New England alone, I think we're due for a 20% correction easily because obviously supply, demand exceeds supply, and houses are selling, for 20% over what they realistically, the real price should be, and it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm in Southern California, and my home price. I've owned my house for maybe 11 years now. It's doubled in value, and it's insane. If I wanted to try and buy a house now at the price point, it wouldn't be possible.
No,
so it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing I'm getting hit with. I mean, I'm getting phone calls, and offers in the mail for people saying, "I will buy your house cash." And I'm for X amount of dollars. I'm like, oh, sweet, that's a lot of money. And then I go to look, and I'm like, well, inventory is low, and I'm going to have to pay an inflated 20% price that may or may not correct within the next month.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Well, Well, I mean, it's just my best example is there's a house in Michigan. In Michigan, listed for 800,000, went for 1.2 million. What? Like, okay, one, what the heck is in Michigan? Two, why would anybody do that? Like, why are you gonna put yourself in that much more debt for a house that's not even realistically worth that at all? I don't. Christian says I'm an agent is flipping crazy. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. In 1992, yeah, it. The Great. Oh, I'm guessing that's supposed to say the Great Reset Global Economic Forum. Yeah, it's the Great Reset is the biggest lie, I guess you could say. I mean, it's a reset, all right, but I mean, you're really just hurting middle and lower classes again. Because you figure if they buy up all these cheap houses, and we have Biden really to thank for that because of that $500,000 cap, right? And so they're not looking for the big properties, the big expensive properties. They're looking for the affordable housing that common people can actually afford, and they're leaving the expensive properties for the wealthy investors. It's just a mess. It really is.
Well, I mean, they should just stick to renting. I mean, that's it goes back to the fundamental BlackRock, 101. Go back to renting. Why bother? Why bother buying?
Yes, Christian, we've talked about the fourth turning a million times, and it's funny that you actually bring that up. Like, so I'll link this too. So I started in February. I won't say that. About March, I started realizing the trends, right? I was like, we knew about the 10 and 12-year cyclical event of, corrections. And the fascinating thing that I found, and it was kind of funny with my team, was I was like, wait, there's like 100 years, there's something with 100 years, every 100 years in the 20s or 30s, it seems to, there always seems to be some kind of economic crisis or crash or something. So this is my DD. I just posted it in YouTube, and I'll post it into the Discord as well for those that don't know. I don't know anybody in there that doesn't know it yet, but I started looking into it, and so within about 2 or 3 months, I had that all pretty much formulated, and my husband brings to me a video about the fourth turning, and my brain just kind of shattered. I was like, holy crap, I was actually onto something. Like, had not heard anything about the fourth turning or anything like that. I had not heard anything about it at all. And so when I actually watched that, I got chills. I was like, I actually pieced that together just from patterns, just patterns that I was witnessing. So yeah, it's interesting, and we're seeing, and I'm now tracking the patterns of the housing crises too, and so that's my most recent one that I just did. Heard about it. I saw a little bit on Timcast. Yeah, I will find this video for you guys. Give me one sec. It's actually a really they do a great job on it.
Hey, Ken, we had a question up in YouTube that said, "Can we talk about NFT dividends?" I don't know much about that one. I don't know if anybody in here wants to touch on that topic.
Is that for GameStop, I'm guessing?
Yeah, probably.
I haven't heard anything about that actually. I've seen glimpses of it, but since I've been so deep into the real estate stuff, I haven't really seen much on GameStop's NFT dividends. So if anybody wants to explain it, that'd be great.
Same with me. That's why I thought I'd mention in case anybody's in here that wants to explain or discuss.
I mean, I can cover the basics of it. I haven't read any of the, if there's some new material out. I mean, I'm just going off what they filed on the most recent annual filing. And then I can talk about the reason why they would do it. But I know there's been a lot of speculation with dates on Twitter and Reddit, even though we don't do dates, that it's sometime mid-July or something to that end. But if anyone has more, someone may have more knowledge than I, to be frank.
I mean, I can look it up real quick while we're sitting here talking about it. Let's see. NFT GameStop. This is when I love having dual monitors. Oh, hell yeah, I don't agree with it. I am talking about you will own nothing and you'll be happy, right? When they say we won't own anything, what exactly will they mean by that? Houses, what will happen to cars? Yeah, they're literally saying, like, you won't own cars, you won't own houses, you won't have wealth, you won't have equity in yourself, and you'll be happy about it because you won't have that burden, so to say, that you have to, you know, take care of it and stuff like that. Like, it's craziness. Do you guys think we will see next week with AMC being New York's threshold every day since last Friday? Guys, I've stopped putting any kind of guesses out there for that. I personally cannot even speculate on it anymore. It's just hold it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I know we've been on the threshold list, you know, since last Friday, and it didn't seem to really cause a lot of impacts this week, and so something that I'm kind of watching, and you know, we're all watching and waiting, but I'm not prepared to make any kind of estimates or what it might do for us.
No, because at the end of the day, I mean, we all know the purpose of it. Whether or not it'll be enforced, or if enforcement is just the cost of doing business fine, like we would have a speeding ticket to you and I, then so what? It'll just perpetuate.
Yeah. So far, we have the SEC, you know, supposedly keeping an eye on things, but you know, not really doing much. That's impacting what we all believe to be some quite illegal behavior.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the standard, they will not comment on an ongoing investigation, but I'm in the wait and hold, the holding pattern, if you will. I can be very patient.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Wait and hold and see what this thing does.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing with the NFT stuff, like they're really not coming out and saying anything about it, but it would be so amazing if they did something with the NFTs, with the stocks. Like that would be, I mean, if you want to talk about a nail in the coffin, that would be it. Like it's one thing with like Meta doing, you know, preferred shares, like that's one thing. But to do a, you know, crypto backed NFT, I mean, there is no getting around that. Like not at all.
No, they're putting. It seems to me, you know, like Ryan Cohen said, brick by brick, which can be interpreted in a myriad of ways. But to me, I read that as they're putting the right pieces together. Obviously, it's not just the brick and mortar reference and some of the other things, but they brought in. I forget the person's name, but you know, is an expert in blockchain and crypto. You know. And it would absolutely make sense for them to issue, if they issued a special dividend, you know, as akin to an overstock type of situation, which would force all shorts to cover and close their positions because they can't deliver a NFT dividend.
We got a great comment here in Discord from 1D, still holding like how a toddler holds his favorite blanket.
Or my toddler with her 2 teddy bears. Those things go with us everywhere. But yes, D1D, I completely understand. Speaking of, I still have my baby blanket, so...
For my little one, my oldest now, although he still has it, but he always had one of those little stuffed dolls that got almost like a bead type of material inside of it.
Yeah.
And he had a turtle that, you know, for the first few years of life that went everywhere with him, wouldn't sleep without it, and then at some point he migrated to a monkey, so now he's got one of those.
Oh, turtles and monkeys are awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know, guys. Like this, I thought 2020 was weird. This year is shaping up to be just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess in my head, anything's possible. Sorry, you guys are gonna hear rain. I am so sorry. But you figure we memed a president into office, right? So why can't we meme our way into wealth? I guess at this point. That's how I've been kind of looking at the last Oh, 6 months, I guess.
Right. I got a topic for us, just because I wasn't paying attention today. I'm way too busy at work. Did anybody see the jobs report and how it went today?
Nope, I didn't see that either. We can look it up in just a sec, unless someone else wants to pull it up.
I caught the synopsis on Twitter while I was in between a million things, but overall, I think it was not impressive for a myriad of reasons. I'm sure someone will pull up the exact figures, but my takeaway was not impressive.
So meaning like there are people still, like a ton of people without jobs, or that there's no jobs available? Do we know?
It was overall, I think there was not a market improvement in unemployment, and they did not expect the job creation numbers that they estimated. They didn't hit their benchmark, indicating that people were not going back to work despite job availability.
I'll touch on that for a sec. So, and I've heard, and someone even said with my 2 degrees, like they'd hire me in a heartbeat, but and that that's up in New England. Whereas, I live here in Florida, right? I don't have state income tax. My cost of living's pretty darn low compared to the rest of the country. And looking at it from a standpoint of that, right? Like, I'm looking for work. Like, I'm legitimately, because our business, like, we're not getting any. Like, our photography stuff is pretty much shot with the real estate stuff. And hell, my husband, he's basically just turned his focus into just studying the real estate market. He's a realtor here, and since he's kind of one of the newer kids on the block, he's not getting any deals. And so we've been kind of focused on trying to find work, and I have, experience in the medical field. I'm an English major, so I should be able to get something, some kind of journalism or whatever. No. I have probably sent out a good 200 applications in the last couple weeks. I've heard nothing. Nothing. And I will tell you this is the funniest thing, which, they say, oh, just go apply to a job, go, and you'll get work. My husband actually, okay, so the backstory on him, he's worked at Rolls-Royce as a junior drafter. He was a senior advisor for Apple Care, corporate, and he's been in the military. Tried to take a simple job at Lowe's because of his TBI and everything. Like, it kind of prevents him from really working like big jobs anymore. And they literally told him, they're like, we can't hire you because you're overqualified. And he was like, I don't care if I'm overqualified. And they're like, well, we can't pay you what you'd be worth. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I understand that, the job is paying $12.50 an hour. And they're like, yeah, we're still just not going to hire you. Click. Like, hung up on him. Like, what?
That is absolutely valid. When I was on medical leave, when my mother was ill, I left my full-time job, and I was looking just to pick up some part-time stuff, and it was like Home Depot was the equivalent. And despite even dumbing down my resume, like removing advanced degrees and, et cetera, because I knew that I was going to get you're overqualified, I still got pushback, and I was like, look, I'll still take it. I need part-time work to keep busy. And they were like, we're not going to hire you because you're overqualified, and you're just going to leave us in 3 months or 6 months when you get a real job anyway, so we're not going to bother wasting our time. It's basically what I heard.
Isn't that crazy?
So I don't know skill sets, but, anybody that can fit their skill sets into tech or into information technology securities, I mean, kind of with, writing experience, you could get into things like document writing. It might not be the funnest job in the world, but I can tell you from an IT standpoint, I'm hiring fairly often, and it is tough to find, qualified people for some of the positions. A lot of times we got to go, in my case, go get consultants, because I need to hire a firm that now I'm going to pay 30% to bring someone in that's qualified to do something. So I know anybody kind of is qualified to fit in. If you're qualified to write a document, you might look at something like that.
Oh, I actually am working on a resume to Forbes is actually has this new position it's an entrepreneurial writer, you get your base salary plus you get like 50-50 split commission on like something. I have to reread it all to fully understand it. But I'm actually working on my resume to kind of get that job. Like it seemed pretty fun. I mean, to go and it's like you kind of get to write about what you're good at, right? And so I was kind of thinking about like I'm pitching it as, you know, not in these words, guys, but in the ape community, right? Like kind of getting into like the millennial investing and how investing has changed because, well, hell, I've been writing about it now for 6 months. I have a good, you know, set of information that I could actually put in there and examples. But that's actually what I'm looking at is kind of doing that. Because it's not exactly getting to be a writer for Forbes in that sense, but it's a different, you know, it's right up my alley, I guess, you know, experience-wise and degree-wise, but not so much pressure, I guess. What's going on, Meryl? Hey, Ryan. So yeah, I mean, if you're hiring a remotely existent for document writers, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm actually not looking for one now. And by the way, Ryan is me. So
Good
just
to
so
know.
you know that.
You guys are having 1,000 names at this point.
Yeah, I was just kind of throwing that out as an example, but you know, in tech has continued to grow and really is always looking for people but you know, there seems to be a lot of jobs out there, but just not the right fits for for all the people that are needing jobs. It's a tough world, tough market.
It really is. It's I wish I understood tech more. Like I understand it to a degree, obviously. Like I can build computers, I understand like software, and you know I know coding-ish, like enough to be dangerous. But it's to that point where it's like if someone was like, "Hey, can you write an entire paper about XYZ?" I'd be like, give me a week so I can actually research and know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, I always tell people that, you know, when you want to get in tech, if you're technically savvy, and you know how to speak to Google and properly formed search strings, you're well on your way to an IT career.
Oh, well then I'm right there then, because I can I think that's the greatest thing for me is like, you know, someone could be like, oh, I need to find this, and I'm like, oh, okay, give me 3 seconds, and I can actually find almost anything. Like someone.
Yeah, problems in IT, you know, almost always someone else has had the problem.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding the person that has had it and maybe how they fixed it and, you know, unwinding things a little bit.
Right. No, that's exactly it. I mean, it comes down to that whole like, oh, my computer's not working. Well, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? Like walking through the steps, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah, we had a wonderful one today and yesterday. You know, lovely Microsoft vulnerabilities that we had a print issue that, you know, caused us to essentially have to turn off printing across the entire bank for like 24 hours. So you can imagine how difficult that was for our business.
Oh God.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Good Lord.
That was my day today. That's why I didn't get to look at the news or anything today.
Now, see, that just sounds stressful.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Tech in banking, tech in finance is extremely stressful. But I've been, you know, it pays well. I've been in the tech side of or banking side of tech for what 15 years now, and I keep telling myself every time I change jobs, I'm gonna get out of banking, and then I don't because they pay well.
Man, sell your soul, right?
Much.
Hopefully not for long. Then you can just start your own and you can be boss and tell everyone else to go do the
My
problems.
thing, I want this AMC thing to, you know, go to the moon so we can I can get a less stressful job.
Exactly. Like just hang out with me on YouTube all day.
Find something that will give me some benefits for part-time and you know, call it a day.
Hate to say it, but this market is going to crash hard. Yeah, we already know that one. RC. Coupled with inflation, we can't sustain flat incomes with growth near the top. Yeah, something is going to break. We are 100% at that. We're at the precipice of it. And that's kind of the whole thing, like RC, that our group is trying to prepare people for. Like we're like, think of, Michael Burry and Steve and everyone back in '08, like they were screaming at the top of their lungs, like, guys, wake up, you got to see what's going on, like, hello. And no one listened. And so we're hoping that we can raise our voices loud enough to get enough people to look and see what's going on, that it's bad. It is stupid bad. And the fact that the media is like, no, 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 we're okay. We're doing okay. Things are fine. Like, no, if you have to convince us that things are fine, things are definitely not fine, right?
It's akin to like when you ask your wife what's wrong and she's like, I'm fine. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly like, I mean, hell, we just had that not too long ago. Me and here, like, I was just so frustrated one day, and I was like, no, I'm fine. And like, I just got off, and lady was like texting me. She's like, nope, I know what that fine means. Are you good? I was like, I'm fine. Just I'm fine. Leave it at that. I mean, it's just it. Like, if you have to convince people that you're okay or if something's okay, it's usually not. And all the signs are pointing to it's not. Like, if you just dig, I mean, I don't even dig that far. Like, uh, my mom sometimes gets a little worried. She's like, how deep dive are you going? Like, is this public knowledge? Is this public information? I was like, yeah, I'm not even scratching the surface. Like, if I don't have to go on to some, like, hidden server. Like, I don't have to go onto DuckDuckGo to find this information. Like, I'm literally looking on Google. So if it's on Google, it's open information.
It's a massive amount of information to sort through, but yeah, it's out there.
It is. It's a stupid amount. And then there's a lot of the BS information too that we have to sort through.
I mean, case in point, iceberg research? I want to say iceberg lettuce, but iceberg research out of left field, which has been non-existent since like 2012. That was classy today.
Can you talk about that a little bit more? I don't know if everybody knows what you're talking about.
Oh, it's where iceberg research it's this obscure, secretive, research agency that allegedly uncovers a corporate accounting fraud and, overvalued companies and so on and so forth. And I think they date back to 2012. And I think they had one hit before where it was, they put some information out there. According to their due diligence, XYZ company had abnormalities in their accounting standards despite PwC signing off. And sure enough, there was some sketchiness going on there, and the CEO ended up stepping down. But they released sometime this morning I'm not going to call it an article, but a release saying that, we are still short on AMC because look at the fundamentals and, based on, revenue forecasts and so on and so forth, like we reaffirm we're still short on AMC. And then naturally all of the outlets picked up on it and ran with it. It was all over the Bloomberg terminal and, Webull, IBKR news. And if you do any kind of digging, like they don't actually hold any short positions, and it kind of came out of left field.
That is so random. Like, why would you say that you're short if you're not actually short? Like,
right? Unless they're doing it under a different name. We couldn't. Like, I delved into it, and there's 3 entities registered in the U.S. as Iceberg Research. They could operate under a different name, but one is defunct, the other one's out of Ohio, and there was a board of directors, and I didn't really do a big deep dive, but it reminds me of, Glacier Capital, not too long ago, where, out of Luxembourg, where, some apes actually went out to the place and they found it was a mailbox and that no one actually existed at Glacier Capital. With Iceberg Research, they're so quote unquote secretive in the way they operate. They don't have a phone number, an address, an email address, any way to contact them except through their web form. So there's no way actually to vet them. But every outlet just ran with it, like, oh man, like this company is still short AMC, and they took it and ran with it. And then naturally, it then became. Shortly around that time or shortly thereafter, AMC did dip, 5, 6, 7% or something, and then the narrative changed to, CNBC saying, oh, the AMC dipping because, Iceberg Research is saying they're still short and because of fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera. And that became the running narrative for the remainder of the day, that AMC is down because of Iceberg Research and whatever secret report that they have.
Oh, Lord. Let's see. RC said, waiting for July 31st date, evictions are going to fly. Yeah, evictions and foreclosures. And we have to remember, guys, it takes 30 to 60, maybe even 90 days to see that even hit the market, because that's usually how long it takes for those things to actually take place, to go through the court systems. But then you also have to account that the court systems might be backlogged, so it could be 6 months. But yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on that for sure. Iceberg Research, Big Nothing Sandwich. It was a fun hit piece. Found nothing but a lawsuit filed against them in 2015. Melissa Lee retweeted it with nothing. They're blocking mean individual people on Twitter. Oh, Lord. By the way, guys, speaking of mean people on Twitter, why did it become a badge of honor to get banned by some people? Like, when did it become a thing that the apes started just harassing people? Like, that's not a good look. I mean, I might be stupid naive over here, but the whole, like, kill them with kindness, right? Like, that, the more we, blast people and just do this nonsensical crap on social media, it makes us look terrible. And I personally don't want to be affiliated with that kind of stereotype, right? Like, we have a chance, like, you have the bulls and you have the bears, and we have the opportunity to actually create, like, the ape, right? Like, the freaking silverback. Like, I would love to see a silverback statue outside of Wall Street, because we created a new way of trading. I think it's incredible what we have here, and the fact that it's getting kind of dogged down with people that are wanting to just be so negative about everything and just harass people. Like, that's sickening. I mean, it's no different than people just, like, I mean, hell, the people that you guys are attacking, I mean, that's how they are. You can't fight fire with fire, or the whole idea of, like, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind at this point. And so, to me, like, I think that's something that we kind of need to stay away from, of being excited that somebody blocks us on Twitter, because that just kind of cuts off the communication, right? Like, communication's the first step to understanding, and if we cut off communication, then we can't change anything. In my opinion.
I agree, but would you make an exception for someone like Jim Cramer?
I mean, no. I mean, they're all just human, right? Like, they all have their own opinions, just like we have all of our opinions. And it's one of those things, like, at the end of the day, they still breathe, they still bleed, and they all still have feelings. I mean, yeah, some of them could be still very emotional and cold and whatnot, like, but at the end of the day, they're still human, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think, there's a lot of people that, put up a good front, but if you happen to hit the right string, everyone, like you said, everyone still has feelings, and you hit the right topic, and you're really going to hurt someone. And, we're all here living our lives. We're all here to, figure out how to pay for our lives and learn and grow and have fun and all the different things. And, if everyone was a little nicer to each other in the world, we'd probably have a lot nicer world. But
yeah,
I agree. I'm not condoning targeted harassment. Like, in my instance, yeah, I was blocked by Jim Cramer because I made a video meme of him eating popcorn that he didn't care for, apparently.
Oh, well, no, that's just crap. Like, I mean, that's not being harassed. Like, that's just kind of something fun, right? And the fact that he blocked you for that's kind of stupid.
Right. It wasn't targeted harassment, like, or a passing joke of, like, we like coin at 475. I mean, which is one of his famous taglines. But I think that's what went with the meme. But that's what that's what got me blocked.
Yeah, no, that's different. Like, that to me, like, that's just kind of having some fun. But I mean, these people are like, there's people going full on just destroying them on social media, and like, I guess that's where it's like a balancing act, right? Like, you can have some fun, and, like, I mean, your little videos that you make are hilarious. Like, I cannot see anything really wrong with them in that sense, right? But when you're verbally just going after somebody and being proud that you pissed them off enough to get you blocked, and I'm seeing Skull Hasten. Rich blocked me for no reason, didn't even mention him. See, I don't understand that. Like, those senseless blocks, I don't understand. I'm sorry if that happens to you guys. Like, I am full 100%. Like, that's stupid. But at the same time, like, you have to think they're probably being a little defensive too, because I mean, it has been going on since I think even last year, like towards the end of last year into this year. Like, it's been nonstop. Like, they're just getting attacked, and you know, I guess if anything, we're giving them relevancy because we do give them so much attention. And so if we just ignored them, they wouldn't have that pedestal to kind of sit on, right? I mean, I could be so off in that thinking, but
No, I think I think you're pretty spot on there. I mean, a lot of this really is because they're behind the computer. I know Lady just mentioned that it exists because of social media. Social media and some ability to be anonymous, gives people a lot of the feeling of that they have more power, and you can say things that get misconstrued because emotions aren't presented as well through text or different things like that. And maybe it's just somebody being mean, maybe it's misunderstandings, maybe you can't see sarcasm. It can be all kinds of different reasons.
yeah, I think they need to be able to put like a tone somehow in text, because I mean, and that's the sad thing, is that there are days when I feel like I have to put like an LOL or something that insinuates that I am joking. Like, that's what's crazy. And to me, and don't get me wrong, like, Twitter is a great tool, but it becomes toxic very, very quickly. And that's where, like, you'll see a lot of people that are, out in the spotlight, like, like Trey or Rogue or any of us that, we do put a target on ourselves, but we'll take a step back because it's like, okay, I'm mentally drained from social media. Like, this is enough. And it gets to a point, like, you don't know what people are battling in their lives, right? Like, you don't know everything about everyone. Like, I actually just found out recently my neighbor right across the street, his wife just passed away. And I mean, he's distraught about it, but you would never know it, right? Like, unless you actually talk to him. And so you just don't know what people are going through in their lives. And I think we kind of have to take a step back and remember that. Like, no one would have known anything going on with me unless I put it out there, in which I did. And the unfortunate thing that happened, one day I'd put that out, and then the next day I did tweet out something how I felt about certain things being all over my Twitter feed, and I got called a Karen for just kind of voicing my own opinion. And I kind of took a step back and I was like, wait. Now, hold on. I'm probably the least person that's like that, right? Like, I speak for, all... I try to step in for Main Street. Like, I'm an advocate for Main Street, investors and stuff. And that includes, we have kids. Is it Fidelity, I think, is actually having, accounts for 13 to 17-year-olds. And so they're on Twitter, they're on social media, they're on YouTube, they're on all this stuff. And there's just provocative material going out. And it's like, well, now they don't need to be seeing that, right? Like, they're, at least that's my opinion. They don't need to be subjected to that unsolicited material when they're just trying to follow a stock. And so, yeah, I got called a Karen for voicing my opinion about that, which I thought was kind of funny, but also kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah, on a similar note, I can relate. Whether it's some sort of video or meme I put out, or if it's something factual that, just it's a retweet or something, but, I sometimes I get harped on. But my favorite is that simply because of my name on Twitter, I get called a shill and I get hate mail, and they fail to see the parody aspect.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
I
Oh,
used to respond and be like, "Are you serious?" And then it would just perpetuate. So I just kind of ignore it now because I'm like, I've been called a shill so many times that I'm like, you clearly have missed the entire point of what I'm getting at. But I'm just gonna back away now.
you're one of the biggest fighters for it, and yet okay. That makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, I really enjoy flying Kenny around, around the world, and I'm really his pilot. But on the down low.
Wait. I mean, if this is the case, man, you are holding back some secrets from us.
Those non-disclosure agreements, like ever so binding. I just, I haven't been paid in 6 months, but I'd like to get paid at some point.
No, that's great. That is so funny. Let's see, where am I at? Meryl, yes, I've been saying this for years. We need a sarcasm button with text. Yeah, right. We do. We really do. Um, uh, Only been on Twitter for a month or so. I think I have more people muted, blocked than I do followers. I only like the positivity. Yeah, positivity 100%. Like, I mean, the world's so negative as it sits, right? Like, it's just such a negative, ugly place. Why do we need more of it? You know? I mean, that's kind of how we got into this whole mess, was just greed and narcissism. I think it's time for a change. Like, you want to talk about a great reset? There's your great reset. A positive life, like my husband and I were talking about this after 9/11. Okay, I mean, some of us were old enough to remember, like, yeah, we were kids, but we were talking about how amazing the community was in America and really around the world. Like, I mean, everyone just kind of stopped and thought about it for a second, like, holy crap, like, that just happened. And the amount of, pride in our country and just how everyone was that during that time frame was amazing. And I mean, yeah, it lasted, that peak of that was a few weeks, maybe a month, but it lasted for a couple years, just the pride that we had in our human aspect. And somewhere along the line that faded. And I don't know why. Like, people really just stopped caring, I guess. I think maybe it was the '08 time frame when everybody just kind of got burned. Maybe that just kind of created a narcissistic way of living. I'm open to any other suggestions on this, but I don't know. I mean, it's just we need a more positive life and positive world because life's hard. We get screwed and screwed over time and time again. Like, we need to just kind of keep that positivity going throughout the world to kind of keep people going.
I want to throw out there verbally in case anybody else wants questions. We're open to lots of topics here. Whatever. If anybody wants anything, go ahead and type them. Or if you want to voice in Discord, come on in and ask us.
I'm seeing the text channel now, the Trade Talk chat. Canada's DDDD, not research nor regular DD. Hey, and just because I go down deep, dark holes does not mean anything. Monk still fighting fires. So yeah, guys. Monk, stay safe out there, okay? Especially now, like, fire season's gonna be really kicking off. Cancel culture is real. It is. I'm gonna be canceled after this whole thing. I guarantee it. Like, people are gonna be like, man, screw her. She's not on our side.
I assumed the cancellation was next week, and this was our last broadcast now.
Damn. Okay. Well, all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll go 6 hours tonight if we're getting canceled next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Andrew commented he's concerned, worried about the amount of people that might try and bet negatively on the Robinhood IPO. I know we spoke about that once already, but I know Ken already mentioned it a little bit, and I think we both agree that I'm not going for that. I'm not expecting people to do that. I think it's a bad plan to try and bet against Robinhood. Realistically, they did some things that didn't make people happy, but they're making a lot of money. Fundamentally, I think they're going to be strong, and they're probably going to be a lot of institutional buying and pushing them pretty hard.
Um, sorry, I can't compute. Spent 30 years in the Navy, dealt with sarcasm, mean people every day. We just have to let it roll off and keep it moving. That's understandable. Go crazy. Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. I mean, you do kind of, I mean, it is something that you do have to do, but I'm just saying, like, if we could just tone it down. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, that's, you know, my husband's a vet and everything. We actually have quite a few vets on our staff. And that's how they are too. They just let it roll. But I mean, you know, the average person isn't trained to be able to do that, right? I mean, that's just life. That's just life.
I agree 100%. Spend 26 hours working in an emergency room, and I'll change your world.
Frick, be the patient in that emergency room.
Well, I was talking about being the physician, but yeah, sure, absolutely.
No, it's exactly it. I mean, maybe that is something, you know, when you've worked in medical or something, like that empathy side is something that you kind of come across, and you just kind of learn to, you know, rephrase things and be a little bit kinder. Because you see that bad side, right?
Right. I mean, some of us do develop that empathy side. I, however, outsource it to an empathy robot that takes care of that for me, so it's absolutely splendid.
That must be so nice. I am such an empathetic person. Like, guys, I don't kill spiders. I can't. I literally I hate spiders. I hate them with a passion, but I will still capture them and set them outside, and then I'm like, oh, but a bird's gonna eat it. Like, that's where my mind goes. Maybe I'm too soft for this world.
I found one the other day that scared me, and I did, you know, smash it until my foot hurt.
Oh God. No, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Those ones in Australia, man, I'm setting the whole place on fire. Like, if they can grab me by the ankle and fling me around, then yeah, that whole thing's that's being burned to the ground. I'm sorry.
I went to New York in October of 2001. The feeling of love and respect to each other as human beings was really amazing. I do wish we could get back to that. Yeah, well, I think we'd all like to get back to, you know, some of previous years that the world was a little bit more friendly.
Skull's saying, what do you think of Starlink? What's Starlink? Anybody?
Starlink is Elon Musk's internet access for the world, where he's launching all the satellites, the LEOs, low Earth orbit satellites, that's currently in beta. I'm not sure what he specifically, Skull was asking, like thoughts on the tech overall, or financial model, stock price, or when I think the stock goes public. I forget what it's coming up soon. I'm not sure what the question was specifically regarding.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, anything to combat, you know, Google Fiber or something. You know, we need some more bigger players out there.
Yeah, like you know, if they're saying in beta, you can expect speeds from 50 to 150 megabits. A little bit more latency, but that's some pretty serious speed. No caps. I'll have to read into that a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can go on the. I went on the Starlink website to see if I was eligible to beta, and I was, so I downloaded the app, and then on my iPhone, and I went out in the backyard, and they make you do like a 360 panoramic in the app, and I wasn't eligible because of the tree line would have interfered, but I sent it out to my friends in Maine because they had no high-speed internet, and they had service there, and they've been using it for 6 weeks now, and it's been life-changing. And in the beta, it's free service. You just have to pay for the hardware, which was like, I don't know, $500 at this juncture. But you know, they were getting, you know, high speed internet where they didn't have it before.
I'm in. I'm gonna go sign up. See if I can qualify.
Yeah, you hop on the website and you plug in your street address, and it'll tell you if you have if they have service, like a satellite that orbits and services that area. And in Massachusetts here, mine finally popped up, but then when I went outside, like I said, they said trees were obstructing, and it would be a no-go. But when I kicked it, my friends in Maine, they were all over it.
Good night, Kevin. Sleep well. Hope you get some rest. RC said he wants one of your empathy robots. I'll buy one when AMC and GME squeezes. D, I'm an RN. I have a well-developed nurse face. All effing hell can break loose, and I'll be like, okay, then what happened? I get that. IPO's coming up in here probably, I'm guessing, and might put it on my long-term portfolio. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything Elon touches.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what the IPO is going to be. I don't know much if there's anything out there, but what the IPO price is going to be. I tend to stay away from IPOs the last few years because just none have really, at least within the first I don't know month, just because they haven't really. The one time, 2 times I have done it didn't really go well, but it'd be interesting to see what they offer it at, and I think long term, they're going to give the players like Comcast and AT&T a run for their money for sure.
I tend to agree with you. I've participated in a couple IPOs in my background, and I think the retail as a retail investor, it's tough. I mean, an IPO can really be a big swing up or down, and it's hard to really, for me, really understand all the potential upsides and downsides, and so I've had a couple hard experiences with IPOs, and where I end up just losing some money, and not really losing, because you don't lose until you sell, but sitting on something a bit longer in the red than I wanted to.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I'm holding on to something from about a year and a half ago, and then just for fun, I bought in on Coinbase when they launched, and I won't tell you my entry price point, but it wasn't a lot. I didn't buy a huge position, but just for grins and giggles, and it's been red ever since day 2 of their IPO.
Right. I have a question, not topic to throw out for everybody. What does everybody think about Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac? I know, right? Since they've been kind of indebted and feeding profits into the treasury, they're not worth much. But at some point, I would think that they'll be let loose. Although who knows how?
I don't think they're letting that loose anytime soon. That's a cash cow. Like they are so screwed, in my opinion. Like I don't think they'll ever let them go. I mean, think about that. Like how many government loans go through them, and they're just making bank, right?
Yeah, I mean they've paid back the treasury several times over, if I recall, on how much they borrowed.
Like it was like 150 million over, 150 billion over, something stupid. It was an astronomical amount. Like they got screwed because originally it was supposed to be a set price, a certain percentage, right? And then it was just like, okay, it's going to just be all the profit that you ever make. And they've basically done like 1.5 times what they actually took out.
And I know there was a shareholder lawsuit recently that sounds like it got kicked out of the court that for some reason or other, I don't know the technical details, but they were suing that the shareholders want it released because they've been sitting and not being able to get the profits, but holding the shares.
Yeah, that's. I felt bad for all the shareholders. Like I would be part of that lawsuit too, going like, excuse me, they've paid their debt, let them go, let them actually earn money so that the shareholders can actually gain money from it too. Because I mean that's exactly what we're fighting to now with GameStop and AMC and anything else, whatever. They have to be able to, pay their supporters, the backers.
Yeah.
T, to answer your question, I think as of most recent publication that I'm aware of, Starlink has 1,500 satellites up worldwide. Chances are, if you can go outside and the light pollution isn't too bad, what you think are bright shining stars or planets are actually the Starlink satellites.
So this is a good one. KB, at what point does complete transparency come into play? With the recent news of nefarious acts being made in public, which I'm sure is barely scratching the surface of the malpractice in the market, can the credibility of the market be restored post-squeeze? Lost a ton of faith in the market and continues to decline with each passing day that this carries on. You know, and that's a great question, KB. You know, I think we're starting to see that transparency kind of coming through, and not willingly by any means, right? It's not that people are wanting the information to be out, but we're ripping the veil down. Day by day, we're finding more information, you know, with the limited resources that we have. And so I think it's going to be very vital that we keep pushing. We just have to keep pushing, because that's the only way the stock market stays, right? Because if we know as it sits right now that the market is not free. It's not a free market. It is rigged. And if the idea or even the thought of a free market no longer exists, you're going to have many international investors pull out, and even, you know, domestic investors pulling out of the markets, and they'll go to the Asian markets, they'll go to the German market, whatever other market looks better than here, and that will be a downturn for the US economy. Because if you have no faith, you know, our currency is faith-backed, our stock market is faith-backed, and if the faith is just lost, well, there goes our currency and our stock market. And sadly, that's detrimental to the global economy right now, since, you know, the USD is the reserve currency for a lot of countries, the majority of countries around the world. And so it's a ticking time bomb. And if the people in charge are not seeing this right now, then we are in a world of hurt, because of that. You're talking about a global crash, I guess you could say. I don't want to say that word, but it would be a very big change. You know, you'll have another currency step in as the reserve currency, whether that's the euro or the yen or whatever, and you'll just have a massive shift, you know, and that's sad to talk about, but it's the possibility of what could happen.
I heard somewhere that Baby Doge is going to be the new reserve currency. Did anyone else hear that? No? Yeah?
Baby Doge. Oh, Lord. Did you say baby or maybe?
No, Baby Doge.
I read about that one yesterday, that there's a new one that's supposed to be, I think Baby Doge is Ethereum based, or something along those lines, but, you know, another one.
Yeah, it's something, I haven't delved into it, but I think it's something to that end, and I saw a couple of tweets, I think, that Elon sent out. One was that, like, Baby Shark song, but he did the lyrics like, Baby Doge, do, like, he was hyping up Baby Doge today or yesterday.
I mean, come on, they could have at least done, like, Baby Yoda or something, like... I mean, and like literally like had like on the back of the coin, like, this is the way. Like, come on, be creative here. Maybe, guys, this is what we're doing. All right, as a community, we're gonna start Baby Yoda coin, and this is the way. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna figure that out. Anyone know how to write crypto?
I'm sure we've got someone in the community, but we can get it done.
Alright, so now if we see Baby Yoda come out as a coin, we know that someone just totally hacked our idea, and we have claim on it. We have this recorded.
Patent pending.
Patent pending, yes. I mean, that would be pretty sweet, though. I mean, come on. Like, have it like as like an emerald green coin or something, and... yeah, we're doing this. 100%. Let's see, what will the crypto track, though? Stock market transactions, economic transactions somehow. That'd be sweet. I've pitched it twice now on Twitter, like tagging the SEC, like, hey, why don't we have all the stocks, tracked by crypto some way? I know you'd have to shut the market down for like maybe a week to get this done, but recall every share of every company and have that happen. How insane would that be?
I mean, that's quintessential disruptive tech right there. And I don't think boomers are not going to bite.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be, it would literally just be like, oh, here, let's take it down for a week and make sure all the shares are redistributed and matched with a crypto coin or whatever. I mean, the boomers wouldn't have to do anything. They just, know that at least their shares are real.
Challenge is all the big dogs that that own the sandboxes that we're all playing in don't want things like that to happen.
There we go. That's the answer.
Yeah,
all day long, but ultimately we're just playing in someone else's sandbox.
Yeah, and my boss Kenny does not share his mayonnaise or his sandbox, so good luck with that.
Lick Windows. Hey, thanks for coming in. It's the only second time I've been able to catch y'all live. Oh, yeah, this is... if everybody... I might try to put it out, see if everyone wants us to do more late night talks like this instead of having it during market hours. That way people can actually hop in and hang out and whatnot. Because, unfortunately, at the moment, we can't completely do all-day streaming because we don't have the manpower yet for that. But yeah,
I think it'd be valuable to shift it around a little bit because you're East Coast, I'm West Coast. Having to have it earlier in the day, I'm still working, but it's not all about me. But I think if we shift it around a little bit, and sometimes we have, like you've been doing, or like we've been doing, is set topics, and you kind of do like more of a learning session. Some of them are kind of open-ended, like we have today.
Yeah, I'm finding I really kind of like these open discussion podcasts because it kind of it doesn't make it so sterile, I guess. Just kind of let the conversation flow, see where we go, and people kind of get a feel of how we run at BullHouse. Ping pong balls bouncing everywhere. Oh, I saw that tweet. I was clueless. Wait, you saw that one? That's amazing. That was a while ago. How do I get $120 call option to be in the money by August 20th, AMC? Call up Citadel and any of the other hedge funds that are shorting it and say, give me my money. Pretty much.
And Meryl, you can blame your brother-in-law for talking you into buying that one first and foremost.
I'm guessing this is someone related to one of us.
Yeah, I know him.
Nice.
Yeah, I claim to know him once in a while.
Those in-laws will get you every time. I'm just kidding.
That's probably why he's calling that one out, because I finally talked him into doing an option. Did a little bit of a stretch. Bought that almost a month and a half ago, and it's not looking so good right now.
Oh hell, by August 20th, God, that's a month after the shareholder meeting, so I would hope.
Yeah, and with AMC sentiment, options pricing are ridiculous. I mean, if we pop to 70, 75 in the next couple weeks, then that thing's going to be pretty valuable. But options are a risk. You're on a timer.
There's hedge funds crapping in their pants just because you said it out loud. Oh, they're not. There's people camping out their doors. I'm no threat. I'm no threat. Yeah. All I see is that the video, whoever did it, with Stewie and Brian.
So I gotta put this one out there, Kenna, if I can, and kind of specifically to Meryl here.
Yeah, sure.
I do not provide financial advice. This is only my opinion.
Yep, everything that we say in our BullHouse Discord, YouTube's, anything. That's why the big disclaimer on the screen says not financial advice. we're just regular old people doing our DD. You guys gotta definitely do your own, and if you need help, let us know. Like, that's what we're here for. We're here to help teach and kind of guide, so that you guys can actually find your own stuff. Like, we actually had a community DD day, and they're all been kind of looking at their own stuff and kind of bringing it to us, which has been pretty cool. Back to evictions, you're correct regarding 60 to 90 days. Unfortunately, what you're going to see is a filing run on the court house come August 2nd. Landlords have papers stacked. Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, we'll see it. It's just the court systems are going to get so slammed. It's going to be stupid. It's just going to be like cattle going through the court systems.
Is July the date that it was extended to? Because I know it was extended.
July 31st, and it's and Biden said this is the last extension period. How do you believe this will impact? Wait. Where again? I do keck. Oh, Maddie does it. Cool. We're gonna hook up with Maddie. We're gonna create my Yoda coin here. From another planet, give me nightmares. How do you all believe this will affect those in the market who believe the meme stock movement is a joke? Granted, the squeeze reaches the magnitude we are all hoping for. Is there a limit? KB, I think it's gonna send some ripple effects throughout the market, because I mean, you figure, okay, so if you have to cover meme stocks, and I hate calling them that because at this point there's so many, like half the market shorted, guys, half the market. I mean, there's shorts on the SPY at this point, but they're gonna have to pull assets, and you know, like what we've been seeing with crypto, like they've been pulling assets out of crypto, they're pulling it out of tech. It's gonna ripple through the market. I don't know if it's going to be the thing that causes the downfall of the market. I really hope not, because we all know we'll get blamed for it 100%, which I think is stupid. And that's why, you know, that's what I'm really thankful for, all the DD written on Reddit and things like that, because we have the data and the research backing that it's not us. It wasn't the retail. It wasn't the apes doing it. It's not us that would have caused it. It would be the fact of how the market was created and worked, right? So it's gonna hurt. I do believe it's gonna hurt. I don't know about limits. I mean, from what we know, you know, you have basically an onion of people that have to cover all of this. So you have your hedge funds and their clearinghouses, the different insurance factors, the OCC and the DTCC, and then you have the banks and their insurers, and we know that the Federal Reserve is in on this too, and it's going to be really a big question as to, are they going to hold up the Greenspan put in the fact that they bail out the banks again? It's going to be one of those funny things to see, actually. How would you define the meme stock movement? To me, GME is not a meme stock. I think how the meme stock, so it literally comes from Wall Street Bets. You know, they had memes about GameStop, they had memes about AMC, and anything that's really been put onto a meme, I think, is how the meme stock is being, you know, kind of coined. Basically anything that floats around Reddit, which is sad, because that's, you know, it's a great forum. It's a great way to get information out and have people check your work and make sure you're not either crazy or you're on the right track. And so that's kind of unfortunate. That's why I don't like using meme stocks, because like I use the shorts. They're shorted stocks because that's half the market. Yeah, MSM can whatever. I'm really tempted to just like kind of figure out a way to start your own news station that's not MSM. We should, like, it'd be like NMSN, non-mainstream, right? Yeah, exactly. So you guys are on YouTube. You guys are getting to see some of Citadel's work. It's terrifying, but great. All right, let's see. RC back.
At least I didn't do the one with audio where they're actually doing the shame.
Oh, I
shame.
know. You can put it into YouTube if you want to put your links or whatever into YouTube. You can.
Right on.
July 31st. It's a Saturday. Really, my sister works in foreclosures and she has no back to work date through August 30th. Really? July 31st is the date. I know of a couple people that have been living high on the hog, not paying their mortgage. Yeah, right? Like,
one of those things to keep in mind is, 7/31 is the date that they're holding them off for. Once that finally opens, you're still looking at 60, 90 days usually to try and get foreclosures through the courts. So, from the point where the freeze or the hold is lifted, probably looking at somewhere between 60 and 120 days really before large chunks of foreclosures might start to hit.
And depending on your state, like I can speak about Massachusetts, the probate court, which is outside housing, but my attorney filed some probate paperwork after a family member passed. Usually it's a pretty quick turnaround, like a couple of months max. It was filed in January. It didn't get on the docket until mid-June. So I have no idea if housing is going to follow a similar suit, if they're going to be deluged with filings. But if probate can't even get a simple estate filing done, and takes them 6 months to get even on the docket, it concerns me about housing. But again, I can only speak for what I see here in Massachusetts.
yeah, and going to like people like not paying their mortgage like that. So I do know that some people, if they were smart enough, they when all this started happening, they called the bank, and they call them every month to say, hey, I want this payment pushed to the back of my loan. And you have to have that actually in writing. It wasn't just given to people like they kind of made it seem. From my understanding of how this bill was written, or the forbearances and stuff, like if you haven't been paying your mortgage and you don't have that in your contract, that it all comes due when this forbearance is done, right? And so if you've been someone that hasn't been paying your mortgage or your rent or anything in the last 16, 18 months, you're looking, your average mortgage price is $2,000 to $2,500. So you're looking at like 45 grand easy. That's just due, and I don't know many people that have that just kind of lying around.
Yeah, I had a friend that ended up doing a forbearance, and he's a car salesman, so up and down in the world. But when it was over, I mean, it was he owed 10 grand right here, right now, and it was luckily for him. Yeah, lucky for him, he's a car salesman, and he had a good month, and he got to get a little bit ahead of it before before the end of the forbearance. But it was a big number. Yeah,
it's dangerous. You're like, I couldn't imagine, hell, our rents, it just went up, but $1,400-$1,500 a month. I couldn't imagine that balloon payment right now. Oh my God. I don't know how some people are doing it. I don't. And to have an eviction on your record, that just hurts you so bad. I mean, especially, you have, a housing shortage, period. Rentals are so high, and, if you have people that are getting ready to lose their house or anything like that, like, they're going to be looking to go rent. And so now the rental companies and people they're going to have their pick, right? They're going to take people with the best credit, the best jobs, and it's going to shape up to be something like 2012 almost. Like, I remember 2012, like, we were college, me and my husband were in college, and, thankfully we had, at the time of renting, we had a good history, we had good credit, we had decent, pay, but 2012 hit us hard, and we lost our apartment. Thankfully, they didn't file the eviction. Like, they just said, hey, if you can just get out, we have other people that need to be in here, and we had to go scramble because, we lost our jobs. It was rough. It was very rough 2012. And so I think, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to all this going on right now, is that I'm seeing the same patterns, same things that are going on. So I just kind of heed the warning, like, get your ducks in a row before all the forbearances come due. And, there are a lot of assistance programs out there. Contact your state, get a hold of, any kind of charities, churches, whatever, if you need to get help. But be prepared that they're going to ask you for your bank statements. They're going to ask for it. They're going to say, okay, why do you need this help? What happened? And if you don't have a good reason as to what it is, it's going to be rough. Okay, so I want that out there. Why is the GME short interest going all the way down to 8% via Ortex? Ortex doesn't report from all the agencies. It's like, 85% or something. Price action has shown no covering. I know I'm not supposed to put my trust in those numbers, but it still makes no sense. Yeah, Ortex, I actually am thinking about canceling my Ortex, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, I like seeing it, but it's not all the data. And, we're having to go on blind faith most of the time anyway now, so I don't even know, because you can't trust Ventel. You can't trust any of these numbers anymore. It's going to be a hot...
Kenna KB was asking some questions in Discord. I was answering. Probably better just to go ahead and bring them up. So they said, when the real estate bubble pops, do you all believe large investment firms will purchase up homes for sale and convert us to renters? And I had responded that they're already kind of doing that.
Yeah.
And so the question next is really, do we see this continuing? And so I think, I think BlackRock's probably ahead of the game and building up a portfolio that they can ultimately gain rents on, and I don't see a reason why they would stop doing that.
And no, KB, you're not asking too many questions. I mean, heck, dude, if you want to come up here, you can come join us up here in the voice section.
Come on in.
The water's fine.
Yeah, it's going to continue. Like, that's why they're doing it. That's why they are absolutely doing it. I mean, they're buying suburbs. They're buying up suburban homes, like communities, completely. That goes back to the whole thing we were saying. Like, you will own nothing and you'll be happy about it. Like, how stupid, right?
I think when we end up having another crash, if the real estate market ends up tumbling down again, that's gonna be a good time to get in, especially for if AMC launches and we're all sitting on a bit of money. That'll be a time for everyone that wants to buy a house, kind of for the next generation, to do so. Start at the bottom, buy low, and hang on to it.
Hey guys.
Hey KB. Shout out to the mass investor. He is in here. Thank you guys for stopping in. I wish you could join us today. It would be great to get your input on all this, for sure. But I know you're busy tonight. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you. Yeah, KB, no, you are totally fine on asking as many questions as you want to. Or we're just going to sit up here and ramble on about God only knows what.
Alright, cool. So here's my other question. And I'm not trying to sound like conspiracy.
Did he cut out, or?
My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I lost it too. KB, if you're still we've lost you, so.
I think the conspiracy theory got him booted off. I
know. I think so. I don't know. Maddie, any DDs on the sub about the ETFs that support the real estate sector? Is she in here? Not yet. I haven't dug into those yet.
Alright, my bad. I had to change it from push to talk to voice recognition. Hello?
Oh, yep, we can hear you.
Hear you now.
Hey.
Yes.
So I was trying to say that I do believe that the squeeze will reach the magnitude that we're all hoping for. And I just see that as like a snowball effect for everything that's taken place. And I kind of see BlackRock buying up real estate, a precursor for what's to come. They're kind of getting ahead of the game because they already know where the future is going. That's my personal take on it.
So if I'm understanding, like you're basically saying like they already know what's going on, so that's why they're already doing it.
Exactly.
Oh, I mean the writing's been on the wall for about a year. I mean, when 2020 hit, I mean you could kind of see it. I mean that's not a conspiracy by any means. Like just looking at data and just kind of going through the cyclical events, right? Like with 06, 7, 8, that time frame they had, you know, sorry, words are failing me right now. They had stimulus checks going out. They had assistance going out like this. They were basically paying people to live, and people just went and spent that money frivolously. And so, I mean, we're setting ourselves back up for the same exact perfect storm. And no, that's not a conspiracy at all. That's just going through data and kind of matching it to what we already know. I wouldn't say that's a conspiracy. Conspiracy would be like, they forced our hand at this. They made this happen. They caused that's the conspiracy. Guys, this is not anything I've read. This is just literally coming out of my head right now. Like the conspiracy would be they caused COVID so that they could get us out of the houses. That would be conspiracy. We don't know that. That's all just whatevers. But no, we can the housing market, the minute that they did the zero interest rates and things like that on the houses, you could basically just smell trouble coming.
I don't know where you're seeing zero interest rate. I couldn't get that low on a mortgage.
They did something with that, or 1% or some craziness. Whatever.
Yeah, I think your high twos, at least on a 30-year, high twos, which is still ridiculously unheard of on a 30-year loan.
Well, I mean that's what we're kind of at. Like we just hit back over 3. Like they got it. They had like a 1% interest. I'll have to find the article. I'll post it up later. Yeah, they dropped the interest rates for home loans. That's why everybody was like racing out to get them this past year. Actually, I'll just find it now.
Yeah, like I was just paying some bills, and like my HELOC is at like 2.47%. I mean, it's ridiculously low.
Yeah, because I look at the whole pandemic, and I'm not discrediting anybody for accepting the assistance when they needed it, but it's gotten to a point now that individuals are riding this unemployment wave. People aren't trying to go back to work, and I just feel like we're deep diving into a hole that we will not be able to get out of. Because it's kind of like, how do you expect somebody to go back to work and make less money than they were making doing nothing?
I'm sorry, KB. I'm not sure if I caught all that.
I was saying, how do you expect a person to return back to a workplace making less money than they were making without going to work at all?
Valid question. I don't have an answer. I've also been tracking, granted it's mainstream media, but it's also been running in some other publications that I trust are independent, but folks are leaving relatively high-paying jobs because they're being forced to return to the office, and they would rather work from home, and they're leaving these six-figure jobs because they don't want to go back to the office or go back to work, traditional work, and that kind of befuddles me or blows my mind. I wish I had that luxury.
I had an engineer quit on me for that exact reason. We were, as a bank, starting to discuss bringing people back. We weren't even requiring them yet, and I had somebody give me notice because they wanted to go work for another bank that was on paper, on the offer, giving them full-time work from home. And I think there's a lot of people that are doing that now that, if they can find a like position and work from home, they're doing so.
So yeah, we got to okay. So I posted an article on YouTube and on Discord, basically talking about this was from March of last year. What a 0% interest rate means for mortgages. So this is where I think I got a little confused. But so it says, what does the Federal Reserve cutting its target interest rate near 0% mean for mortgages? This is the second emergency rate cut in 2 weeks and brings the federal funds rate to between 0% and 0.25%. It's designed to stimulate the economy by making it cheaper for people to borrow money for mortgages, among other things. Together with the Fed's move to buy at least $500 billion in U.S. Treasury and at least $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities, the actions signal that the Feds put the economic effect of the coronavirus outbreak on a similar level as the global financial crisis in 2008. Here's how it impacts mortgage rates. Will a mortgage rate go to zero? No, mortgage interest rates will probably not go to 0%. The federal fund rates is the rate banks pay to borrow money overnight. Even the government can't borrow at a 0%. The most creditworthy consumer carries a higher risk than the U.S. Treasury, so you're going to pay at least a couple percentage points more than that. But mortgage rates are at a historic low, and because of that, there is increased demand to take advantage. So I think when I was looking at, they got to like a 2.25% or something crazy. Like, that's stupid low. And we're talking like people that, they might not have had the greatest credit back then, and that kind of feeds into a little bit of my research. Like, the subprime mortgages are coming back. Like, people with like a 500 credit score, 550, can get a mortgage now. And tell me they're not
still doing like the 103% like loan to value, like with zero down. Like that's not a thing anymore, right?
No, we're not.
No,
we're not back to that yet.
Not yet. I think it's 3.5.
Yet.
I think it's a 3.5% though for the 500 credit scores.
That'll be an FHA. That's a government guarantee. We are, I think, starting to get to 90% loans, which a couple of years ago was unheard of. And we're not back to the 2006 days of ninja loans, no income, no assets, no nothing. But as Ken was saying, they are certainly relaxing credit thresholds and looking to allow people more in the 500s to get mortgages. And they're not calling them subprime. I forget what the terminology is they're using now. It might be non-prime or something like that. But
yeah, they're non-prime.
Yeah, they're non-prime, but they're not calling them subprime.
No, they've literally named them like non-prime loans, and they interesting enough, I found one that they'll take the non-prime are aimed at the self-employed and the 1099 people, and so if you don't have a regular W-2 or anything like that, they'll actually take like your deposits. Like, they'll look at your bank and see what kind of deposits you're getting. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what to make of it. Like, it's just it's one of those. That's why on my DD, it's like, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck. Like, hello. Are we not looking at 08 all over again?
I expect we're getting closer to that, but they've either gotten better at hiding it or they're calling things different names, and the general population hasn't figured it out yet. But we'll see.
Well, it's just like the CDOs. They're bespoke tranche opportunities or BTOs now. Like they're still there. The CDOs still exist. They're just different names. Subprime versus non-prime. Like it's incredible. See a D.
I was
I don't know
reading
if you're
somewhere. I'm sorry.
I,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, I was just saying D was heading off. So yeah, D, we'll see you around. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I was reading somewhere, and I haven't delved into it. But obviously, we know the CDOs are just still here, just by a different name. But there's a big red flag on, and it hasn't really been talked about, but the commercial mortgage-backed securities versus the home or residential. And apparently, there's some red flags on the commercial mortgage-backed securities, and in terms of like what would be the new CDOs that have been reallocated out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the commercial sector is just in shambles. But yeah, like the commercial sector is like I try to cover that as well, but it's that needs a whole section of DD on its own, right? Like, 'cause that's warehouses, that's your restaurants and storefronts and things like that.
I think commercial is going to continue to suffer as businesses figure out how much they're going to keep people remote versus bringing them back. Commercial rents and space is really going to. I think the demand is going to die off.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing. Like I'm looking at the big tall skyscrapers, and what business, what corporation could honestly say after the year they've had, people working from home and not having to really rely on that overhead cost, would want to go back to that? Why would you want to funnel more money into that, right? And so they'll probably, these big skyscrapers will probably sit empty or something. And so my idea, like a really cool thing I was thinking is like turning those into, condos, taking the office spaces or, turning them into, vertical greenhouses, which I think would be amazing, because then it's one of those things like food, water, and shelter. If we're looking at 1929 or even '08, the three main criteria that people need to survive is food, water, and shelter. And so that's where it's like, okay, if I can create greenhouses that are affordable for people to go and literally pick their own vegetables or food or whatever, have a floor that has chickens on it, maybe, I don't know. But just taking advantage of the buildings that are there so they don't just sit there and decay and cause even more problems later down the road.
I had read, for small, not for high rises, but for smaller buildings, 2 and 3 story buildings, in a lot of cases, they're getting picked up to be used for warehouses. You get an Amazon come in and turn an office building into a warehouse that's closer to an area that it needs to deliver to.
Yeah. And that's a good thing too, but I don't know, like the world's gonna be weird. I think after the 2020s, I think, 2030, I think when we get to that point, like the world's gonna be a lot different than what we see right now.
RC Boat Guy made a comment that might be a good topic to bring up. That's discussing that's the job problem. We ordered a pizza the other night. They called and said that it would be an hour and a half before they could deliver, and wanted to see if we want to pick up. I know in Southern California, I'm having problems like that all over the place, where restaurants have now hiring signs all over the place, and they're trying to bring people back to work, and they can only open half their restaurant because they don't have enough staff to serve the tables.
And that's baffling to me. Like, I know we have hiring signs too, in our restaurants, which, hell, I've even thought about going back to serving at this point, because, here in Florida, like down in Clearwater and stuff, like some of those servers, they take home $1,000 or $2,000 a night, depending on where you're serving at, right? Yeah, it's very tempting. Granted, it would take me an hour and a half to drive to go serve. Like, I'd spend about the same amount of time in my car that I would for one shift, but hell, it's very tempting.
Yeah, I mean, the waits to the demand for getting into restaurants is certainly back, and it just seems like restaurants are having a pretty tough time getting people hired to start to bring in those populations, to bring in the people and customers.
Yeah, and that's really disheartening because it's like those are the I know it's a hard job. It's a hard job on your body. It's an easy job, right? Like I served, when I was in my early 20s, and I mean I loved it. I mean it's a pretty relaxed atmosphere for the most part. I mean, yeah, people get grumpy because they're hungry, but I mean, again, that goes back to that whole like empathy, like being positive and like making sure people have a good experience. Um, I don't know. I might be way too peppy for this world. I'm starting to see this. Um, who wants to wait 90 minutes for pizza? Yeah, I saw that was you, Citadel, but no, I wouldn't want to wait 90 minutes for pizza. I'm too impatient for that. You're watching, ordered pizza while watching The Big Short. It's a good movie. Good movie.
The irony there isn't lost on me.
No. Um, but yeah. All right. So yeah, guys. Does anybody have any questions or anything else they want us to talk about? We're gonna be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes. We actually did pretty good. Almost 2 hours. That's pretty fantastic. That is hard to believe. It's almost midnight.
I guess time flies when you're talking about corporate fraud and market manipulation.
That's disgusting.
I know. Sorry.
Because I need to eat. I'm a little bit past dinner time here on the West Coast, and I'm hungry.
I know.
Be careful. It may take 90 minutes to get a pizza.
It might. I will say that my wife refuses to go back to food service management. It's tough. What means wash call, Jose? Oh, one of you guys were talking about that.
Maybe are you talking about a wash loss or wash call?
What, like wash sales, or where you enter and exit a position within a 30-day period, so you can't write off any losses? Is that what you're asking about, Jose?
You're welcome, Marcy. I'm glad we could be your confirmation bias. That's not what we aim to do, but if it happens to work that way, I guess that's a good thing. We're waiting for Jose. Y'all are awesome. Thank you again, guys. I'll try to catch y'all next time. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think if everyone's enjoying the late nights, I think we might do these more often. We'll find a perfect time. I think if everyone's okay with the 10 o'clock Eastern, I think it's okay. We probably won't do 2 hours every night though, guys. We might stick to like the hour time frame.
So do we want to talk a little bit about a wash sale or wash loss, just in case that's what Jose is looking for?
Yeah, you guys can real quick.
So Jose, I can give you a kind of a high level, and always obviously talk to a tax person. But if you're looking about a wash sale or wash loss, what that can mean is, like, let's say you buy AMC stock at $72 at its peak, and then you want to sell it, a couple weeks later at 50. You've obviously got a loss. If you're itemizing taxes and you can write off a loss, that would help you. But if you were to repurchase within 30 days, identical or close to identical stock or option or whatever else you happen to be trading, the IRS actually calls it a wash loss, and this is obviously for the United States. But they won't allow you to take the loss because you're essentially replacing your loss with some kind of an identical security. I'm probably butchering that terribly, but hopefully that helps you a little bit.
No, that's pretty spot on. There are some exceptions to it. If you apply and the IRS recognizes you as a day trader, you file for the exemption. But generally, entering and exiting the same security within the rolling 30 days period, if you incurred a loss at any point, it's now no longer recognized, so you can't deduct it from your capital gains. That's how, if you saw these stories that came out in Q1 of this year about or maybe Q2, where some surprised Robinhood folks, like maybe they netted $40,000 in profits, but they got a tax bill from the federal government for like $800,000 or $1 million because every day they were popping in, popping out of, GME, AMC, or some of these other stocks. And all of their losses were moot because they were entering and exiting the same security over and over. So their losses never counted, and the IRS treated it as all gains, even though they only netted $40K in profits. So you got to be really careful. I'll be doing on a side note, a capital gains. I can only do it on a federal level. I can't do it in every state, but I'm planning a a capital gains class, I think in the next week or so, but I'll post it out there. That will be, I think, recorded. I'm doing it with someone else, but so to kind of cover some of these questions and how to kind of, obviously, steer you to a tax professional, but how to kind of insulate yourself from unnecessary tax exposure, post squeeze, etc. But I will keep you all updated on that.
Hey, so on that topic, when you're going to do that, one of the things that I've been trying to, talk to people about when I'm chatting in Discords and things is, always see a tax person or CPA. But one of the things that I know a lot of people talk about capital gains. In the United States, capital gains tax percentages only kick in when you've held a security for more than a year. Otherwise, it's considered short-term, and it's taxed at your income tax rates. And so that's something that I think a lot of people look at a capital gains tax at being like a 15 or 20%. But if you make a whole bunch of money, either on salary or on stocks, on short-term holdings, which are less than a year, you're actually your income tax rates. And so those can be significantly higher than capital gains.
And it could also bump you up, depending on, for example, if I was to close out my AMC position, it would bump me up into a whole new tax bracket, which would have, the significant tax implications. Fortunately, my older brothers and my father were, I'm just the black sheep that didn't go the finance CPA route, but they're all tax preparer CPAs. So they've compiled a kind of short list of talking points.
If this AMC squeezes like we all want it to do, so I for one will not be afraid to be paying top tax rates.
Yeah. Well, and this is RC actually just said. Well, they say when you hit the lottery to hire a good tax attorney and accountant before you cash in the ticket. Same with the squeeze, and that's exactly what I've been saying. After you hit that sell button, before you move any of your money out of your brokerage, you get a hold of your bank, a tax accountant, and a CPA or someone to start kind of going through the process and knowing what you have to do before that money even touches your bank. You need to make sure your bank is aware that it's coming, because they might hold it. They might say, well, this isn't real money, and it'll get put in limbo for a while. So you just have to let them know, because they might have a different thing that you need to put it in, since in the States, $250,000 is the cap that's insured by the FDIC. So, you're going to have to figure out how to, if you're putting it in a trust or something like that, just so that's all covered, right?
Yeah, well, doesn't everyone have a shell company based out of Cyprus with a Swiss bank account we're going to send it to? Is that not common here?
I heard Cayman Islands was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're based out of, Citadel Air. So if anyone wants a recommendation on a good bank and tax attorney, I got you.
Stop it. All right. Let's see. We have a few others. I think many people are. Oh, Big Mick said regarding the jobs, I think many folks are considering exposure and the risk it poses to their family when returning to work, not necessarily the job. And that's a fair point. That is a fair point to consider as well, 100%. And I mean, that's where it's like, I love that a lot of companies are going to remote jobs. I love seeing it, because it does keep the people that need to, kind of veer away from being in the public as much, lets them work from home. RC also says Florida stay safe in that hurricane, waiting for it to come up the coast to Virginia. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's turning into a tropical storm because like I'm actually in the path of it, so I'm hoping that it turns into a tropical storm before it gets here for sure. And anyone in southern Florida, down in the Caribbean, if you guys are there, be safe. From the videos I'm seeing from Elsa, she's living to her name. She is wreaking havoc on all kinds of places already. So just everybody stay safe that's in the path of this storm. It will be the best 10% you spent. Oh yeah. I have a plan. All should have a plan before this thing goes down. 100%. And we've discussed that a few times. Maybe we'll have a night where we go over everybody's different exit strategies, because I've heard 1,000 of them at this point, which I think are phenomenal. So I think that would be a great thing to definitely cover. Failing to plan is a failing to plan is planning to fail. Oh, he just said failing to plan is planning to fail. 100%. Exactly.
Just to say, I know we're getting ready to wrap. Anybody that's still listening, you know, if you like the chat here, add a like on there and see if we can help promote the channels a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's been great, guys. I've enjoyed this late night little stream here. We will tweet out again. We might have a new schedule. We'll put it to a vote. I'll put a vote out on Twitter. How's that sound? Yeah. Thanks for coming in, guys, and we will see you guys around.